I think so many of the things that, we tend to do to our own environment have to do with the things that we neglect within ourselves, that we don't pay attention to, that we don't have time for, or, we have to fight against. And so I think they're all very relatable. This world we live in today is a pretty strange world too.
Hey everyone! There's this movie that just came out called Strange World. I know, right? It was released by the illustrious Walt Disney Animation Studios. Now, I know this may come as a surprise since they barely did any marketing for it, but I just thought this movie should be seen since it has the first openly gay character in a Disney movie. Not counting LeFou from Beauty and the Beast 2017, that one random woman from Rise of Skywalker, that Cyclops lady from Onward, that lesbian couple from Lightyear, and let's not forget the first forehead kiss from a same-sex couple in Wakanda Forever. You can't make this shit up. But all jokes aside, I wonder why this movie isn't getting any marketing at all. Maybe Bob Chapek just didn't see any point since animation is clearly for kids and no one else.
Our fans and our audiences put their kids to bed at night after watching Pinocchio or Dumbo or Little Mermaid. They're probably not going to tune into another animated movie. They want something for them.
What is this shit?
What's going on? Why don't they like it?
Or maybe it's just because of the gay kid. I mean, I don't want to throw any baseless accusations against Disney or anything, but yeah, I'm like 99.9% sure it's the gay kid. Seriously, it's Baymax and Lightyear all over again. The only thing that people are talking about when it comes to this movie is that there's a gay character in it, both to its benefit and to its detriment, because it's both the only marketing it's able to get and it's literally all that it looks like it's offering. Not that the representation in itself is bad, but you gotta give us more than that if you want people to go see your movie. Speaking of which, I just saw Strange World, and it sucked. And the thing is, I'm not even remotely surprised by that. Strange World is the most boring, by-the-numbers movie I have seen in so long. Believe me when I say this, it is worse than Lightyear. I mean it. Lightyear, at the very least, had like 3 good jokes in it, and I liked the daughter. She was okay, I guess. But Strange World? Well, I liked the dog. He's a good boy. Splat's cute too, I guess. I like how the opening of this movie was actually a different animation style. It was cool for the 30 seconds it was different. Kinda makes me wish the whole movie had that comic book aesthetic, but no, we can't have that. We can't have a unique style for this movie that's clearly wanting to go for that comic book aesthetic, but it's only used in the very beginning and the very end of the movie. Why couldn't you try and do like Spider-Verse and actually incorporate the comic book stuff throughout the film? But instead, the comic book style and the black and white old-timey stuff, it just feels so gimmicky. It's only there for a short time, but then it's never utilized again. Why not instead do like the Wizard of Oz did, where when they're on the farm, it's all in black and white and with that old staticky feel. But then when they reach the Strange World, then bring in the color. That would be a genuinely cool nod to the classic movies you were clearly alluding to in what little marketing you actually did. And of course, the comic book sequence is cel-shaded, because God forbid Disney actually do anything 2D animated. Yeah, we put Pride Rock in the background of our new logo, but God help us if we have to draw it. And speaking of the Strange World, it's just plain not interesting. Every creature we come across looks like something out of the Spore video game. Just pretty basic designs that don't really stand out or are that memorable. Seriously, who's gonna remember any of these basic ass designs once the movie's over? Who's gonna be buying these toys? Even Splat I don't really see being all that marketable since he has no face.
It's so cute. I want to merchandise it.
We get it, Disney. You love money. We also see how much you love generational trauma. Again. Look, generational trauma is a really important thing to talk about, and it is a good thing it is getting talked about, but how many movies have we gotten in the span of a year talking about it? Unless you do it as well as Encanto did, let's not make this a new twist villain, okay? So, tell me if you've heard this story before. Jaeger Clade is an explorer who wants his son to become an explorer like he is, but his son Searcher Clade doesn't want to be an explorer like his dad, so his dad just leaves and never comes back. We'll come back to that. So the son goes on to start a farm and eventually gets his own son who he wants to take over for him when he gets older. But Ethan, the 16-year-old gay son Clay, which by the way, that's how Wikipedia describes him, as the 16-year-old gay son. That's not a personality, Wikipedia, what the fuck? But Ethan actually likes exploring just like his grandpa did. And can you guess where the story is going? Well, if you've seen a movie before, then I bet you can. Every single thing you imagine would happen does happen. Searcher and Jaeger fight the whole time. They argue about just how different they are, but then Ethan will help them get closer together. But then they'll have the fallout because it's the second act breakup time, and then Ethan, the 16-year-old gay son, yells, "I'm not you, Dad!" Just like Searcher did all those years ago. It's so fucking boring! There's nothing new to be seen here. It's just so played out and so predictable. Oh, but of course, they'll realize their mistakes and make up in the end and all that bullshit, and it's just so generic. And the film just beats you over the head with its message about accepting your family for who they are and shit, and the whole time I'm just wondering, are we forgetting the fact that the dad fucking left to go get milk? He straight up ditched his family and was missing for 25 years. Now, at first I thought it was just because he was stuck in the strange world, but then it's later revealed that even if he wasn't stuck, he wouldn't have come back. I'm sorry, but that's a big deal. I get what this movie is doing, and it's not like they completely shy away from that. Oh wait, they do. They really do just shy away from the weight of what he did. They treat it like he was gone for like a few months or something, maybe a year. But no, it was 25 years. He missed out on his son's wedding, the first 16 years of his grandson's life, and there's even a throwaway line where Searcher brings up that his mom moved on and got married to somebody else. Yeah, that's a throwaway line somehow. You'd figure that would be way more relevant, but it really isn't. But yeah, Searcher completely forgives his dad and everything's alright in the world, and it's just so lame. Compare this to the ending in Encanto, where Abuela apologizes to Mirabel for all that she had done to her. We get that amazing flashback sequence that explains just how she ended up the way she was, and Mirabel understands, but says that it'll take time to heal their family, to heal the bond that is between them. But in this movie, there's no apology. Sure, there's a talking scene, but it's just the dad trying to justify his shitty actions to his son who buys into it. And I'm sorry, that is a terrible way to go about this message. Again, the important key here is responsibility. And he doesn't take responsibility for leaving his family behind. Abuela took responsibility, and even Mai's mom in Turning Red took responsibility for her mistakes. But Jaeger?
Know your fucking place, trash.
I just don't know who I'd be if I stopped exploring. You're a father! Fucking act like one! You know what? I'm just gonna say it. Jaeger Clade just might be the worst father from Disney since Buck Cluck. Yeah, you heard me, because at least Buck Cluck apologized at the end of the day. Sure, it sucked and came out of nowhere, but at least he said the words, "I'm sorry." But Jaeger?
He's like a little gremlin that I just want to take him and throw him into oncoming traffic.
The pacing of this movie is so weird. It really feels like it wants to get itself over with ASAP, which I'm totally fine with, but some scenes are just so jarring in how quick they come and go. Take the scene in the opening, for example, where Searcher tells his dad he doesn't want to be like him, and Jaeger, being the man baby he is, throws a huge temper tantrum and then storms off to go buy cigarettes. And what happens next? We just fade to black with a boring-ass text that says 25 years later. Yeah, that's fun. Could have actually shown Searcher bringing back the Pando and getting all that fame and attention. Could have actually shown him starting his farm, meeting his wife, having his kid. It could have all been really funny and emotional. But no, skip all that boring shit and just have some random mailman show up and explain what happened over the 25-year period. Hey, Searcher, thanks again for discovering that green stuff that changed our lives forever. And good job starting that farm and getting laid and shit. You're the man. Thanks, asshole. What, you gonna point out that I'm a mammal too? You know what? I think Up could really learn a lesson from this movie. I mean, who wants to watch that boring montage of Carl and Ellie living their lives together in the first 5 minutes when you can just cut straight to Carl being an old-ass man? Yeah, and then have that John Ratzenberger construction guy show up and say, "Hey, I heard your wife of 70-something years just fucking died. That must really suck for you since you're now all alone with no family since Ellie couldn't have kids or anything. By the way, we want to bulldoze your house." Up would be 10 times better if it did exactly like that, because Strange World showed us the blueprint, baby. Fuck yeah. I guess I could talk about the big twist in the end, but that requires spoilers for this movie that I honestly don't recommend you watch anyway, but yeah, there's your warning. I guess it is neat how it turned out that they were all living on a big animal this whole time, and all the creatures they interacted with are the cells of the creature's body trying to protect it. It's a twist I actually didn't see coming, but of course, they had to go and ruin it with a dumb misunderstanding where the president has to become a brief twist villain because, "Oh, you don't understand. This is really important. We can't fail the mission." God, it's exactly like the dragon from Luck again, only where in that movie, it took a whopping 5 minutes for the dragon to realize she's in the wrong. In this movie, it takes a whopping 3 minutes to realize she's in the wrong. Wow, that was so instrumental. I'm really glad they kept that in since it was really important to her character who is, she can fight. Yeah, she can fight. That's her character. How about the mom? Well, she likes to fly and be an embarrassing mom. Yep, that right there is a character. Hold on, let me get my glasses real quick. Yep, that's a character. Searcher sure loves being a farmer, so much so that he brings it up a whopping 127 times in this movie to make sure we don't forget. Yeager is the deadbeat asshole, and Ethan is the 16-year-old gay son. Oh, and he plays Magic the Gathering, I guess. Yeah, that's brought up like 3 times in the movie, so it's very important. If I can be perfectly honest with you guys, I had very low expectations for this movie. Not just because Disney's been letting us down quite a bit in recent years, but because of this movie's director, Don Hall. For those who don't know, he also directed the 2011 Winnie the Pooh movie, which was okay, Raya and the Last Dragon, which was also just okay, and of course, his crowning achievement, Big Hero 6.
Oh, my favorite.
Look, I'm sure Don's a nice guy, but to me, he's probably the most average director at Disney right now. Every movie he's made so far has never surpassed the just okay territory. Like he's perfectly content with making movies that never really go the extra mile that other Disney movies do. And his movies often have the same issues. Too many useless side characters that just don't add much to the plot, a fast pace in a large open world that doesn't give enough time to allow the audience to really take it all in, and messages that are, while noble, are often botched with either super safe happy endings or completely misses the mark and ironically ends up becoming a terrible message for kids. Just like in Strange World, where the message I got from this movie was to always forgive the person who ditches you just because they can't accept who you are. Apologies aren't even necessary. Which brings me to another point. He is responsible for 2 of the worst Disney characters in 15 years. First Sisu, and now Yeager Clade. If there is anything that I'll be passionate about when it comes to this film, it'll be my unrelenting hatred for Yeager Clade. But everything else about this movie is just so fucking dull. Characters are one note, the story is predictable, the world just isn't that intriguing, the message is so over the top and botched that I highly recommend ignoring it just for your mental health. This is easily Don Hall's worst movie to date. And frankly, this is also probably the worst animated Disney film from this studio since Chicken Little. Yeah, I said that. I take no pleasure in saying it, but it's just such a nothing movie that didn't give me anything good to talk about. I have nothing else to say. If you want to watch this movie, just wait till it's on Disney Plus or something, or just go watch Encanto again since it actually nails the generational trauma message down pat. Or even Turning Red. At least that movie is really funny, but Strange World wasn't funny, or entertaining, or enlightening, or even simply decent. It was just bad. Oh, and Ethan being gay has no bearing on the plot, so, yeah. Glad to see all that hype was worth it.
Is this what giving up feels like? I don't know, I don't know. Tell me, have I lost my mind? Nowhere to go, so far from home. Is this what giving up feels like?